Is Caverton Offshore Support Group stock still a buy? If you were part of my webinar last year where I discussed 5 stocks to buy for 2024, Caverton was actually one of the picks I shared at that point, and then Caverton was selling for below, I think price below 1.4, between 1.4 1.5, although I've entered earlier around 1.3 to 1.4, and then my analysis was based on the fact that Caverton was emerging from the bottom, number one, and then number two, downside risk on the stock seems to be very lean compared to upside potential. And then I also spotted 1.6 as a major key level where the stock has tested multiple times, and then I also shared the fact that a breakout above 1.6 could take us to a high of 2.2, and then if Caverton breaks out of 2.2, it could rally to 3. But then this wouldn't actually happen without a pullback, because the market would always go in wave. It doesn't go in a straight line, so there will always be wave up, wave down, but all you need to do is to ascertain the overall trend of the market. Now, what happened is that Caverton did touch that 2 naira key level that I expected, 2.2, and then right now you saw how the stock sold off significantly. So if I go back to my lower time frame, you will see that after touching that major key level of 2.2 as expected, you can see how the stock sold out. You can see, and then I think last week we saw a huge dip of 18.9 down, and then you see Caverton is heading back to its previous key level, which was once support. So the question is Caverton a buy at this point? Should I still buy? Now, I expect those in my community to have sold a reasonable percentage of their Caverton at 2.2. I've always talked about taking profit. Profit and cash are not the same, and I always say that cash is a realized profit, profit is an unrealized cash. So if you are actually interested in cash flow from stock, then you must look or take profit taking serious. You can't be in a stock for a long time. Stock don't go up forever. There will always be rally, there will always be pullback, there will always be bull and bear. Now, before I talk about Caverton, let me quickly do a recap of the overall market. Let me tell you what is happening right now in the Nigerian stock market. The Nigerian stock market has rallied so high. In short, at this point, any prudent trader should probably have gone cash, and should probably have moved a reasonable percentage of his or her portfolio to cash, because this market had rallied to a level that I think is unsustainable. Do you understand? It's unsustainable at this point. Nigerian stock market touching over 102,000 basis points. At this point, it's unsustainable. The market will not go up forever. There will never be a single trend. At some point, the other one will set in, which is the fact that a bear market is in place. So you have to be extremely careful at this point if you are trading Nigerian stock, because there is possibility that the market may pull back. Pullback is certain, but when it will happen, we don't know. But then, while you are still looking to lock in some capital, lock in cash, protect your capital, it's also important that I share this. Even if the market is going to crash, it is actually not all the stock in the market that would follow suit. So there will always be top gainers in the market. Some stock will still attract positive attention. Some stock will still attract buyers' interest. So your job in this market is to look for one of those kind of stocks. So, and what I do basically is that I like to look for stocks that are emerging from the bottom, because these are stocks that have been beaten down. So these ones are already beaten down. So even though the market is crashing and they are already down, the chance that they will go down is lean, because they are already down. So that's why I pay attention to risk to reward. And I always say that risk to reward is very key if you want to be profitable. I look for stocks with limited downside and huge upside potential. So let's go back to Caverton. Now Caverton is selling around its previous key level of 1.6. So should I be worried? Should I sell off, lock my capital, leave the market immediately, or should I buy? That's another question. Should I look to buy? So I would probably take my time to answer all these questions using technical and fundamental analysis of Caverton. Now, as a trader, I pay more attention to technical analysis. If you want to be a profitable trader, then you should channel majority of your effort and energy towards technical analysis. If you want to be a profitable investor, then you should channel majority of your energy to fundamental analysis. So trading is 90% technical, 10% fundamental. Investing is 90% fundamentals and 10% technical. So I will try as much as possible to tell you the technical analysis I carry out for short-term trading, but then most of our predictions, most of my price action will be based on technical analysis. So let's move on. Like I said, I will try as much as possible to carry out fundamental analysis, but then our decisions on whether to buy or sell largely depends on technical analysis and what price action is telling us at every point in time. So recently, Caverton just released its full year results. Yes, full year results. So let's look at the numbers on Caverton. So you see, January to December 2023, Caverton reported a profit of 33.183 billion. They are all in thousand against 28 reported in 2022. Now that is a growth. Now operating profit moved from 7 billion in 2022 to 11 billion in 2023. That is also good. And then looking at inflation and all that, the company is also able to report operating profits. So despite the massive increase in prices, so you can see how that actually affected the administrative expenses from 4.4 billion to 9. That's almost 100% increase, but then it wasn't strong enough to hinder the company from reporting good numbers. Bottom line, now the company was well supported by exchange rate difference. That means exchange rate helped to add to the increase. So Caverton reported net gain on FX from 38 million to 1 billion. So you can see that FX is actually positive for Caverton. Caverton is benefiting from FX. You see note 5 shed more light on that. And then operating profit moved from 2.5 to 2.9, and then profit before tax moved from 109 million to 432 to 39. Then profit after tax from 72 million to 317. So overall, the result is actually impressive. So that is my own opinion on Caverton. But then I don't just consume financial reports like this. I like to dig deeper. I like to carry out further analysis. Let's look at the trend. Is this company benefiting from trend? Now, for members of my community, I already discussed the hottest sector to watch in 2024, and I also discussed one of the major trends, one of the major events that will drive the stock market in 2024, and one of them is exchange rates. So if you want to benefit from stock this year, so rather than buying random stocks, pay attention to companies that are benefiting from exchange rate. So exchange rate is like a key factor. We saw what exchange rate did in 2023, that's Q2 2023, how a lot of companies' financial statements was battered by exchange rate. So what I did was to reposition my portfolio, focus on companies that are benefiting from exchange rate. So one of the takeaways of this webinar is that if you want to remain profitable in 2024, you have to align your portfolio with the trend. And aligning means buy stocks that are benefiting from exchange rates. Now, I already have a course on my platform, Coach Oge platform. If you want to learn more about exchange rate, where it's going to, why exchange rate is rising back to back, I have a course on Coach Oge platform where I discuss exchange rate as a bonus. So if you have access to this course, Explosive Stock Strategy, where I discuss some of the metrics, some of the setup that I've always spotted multiple times on a stock before they blast higher. So here I added a bonus to it, which is what? Exchange rate to income. This is it here, exchange rate to income. If you watch this course on exchange rate to income, I bet you would understand, you have a full grasp of exchange rate trend in Nigeria and why dollar would always remain strong against the naira. So it's not about you being pessimistic or saying that I don't like Nigeria, but you understand the fact that there are key fundamental metrics behind this exchange rate which you need to understand, so that you don't just you don't buy dollar out of fear or sell out of fear, but rather you look into the trend and ensure that you are only trading, you're only buying because you have access to accurate information. So that's what this exchange rate to income cost will help you to understand. So here Caverton is benefiting from exchange rate. That is note 5. So let's go to note 5 to look at the breakdown of exchange rate on Caverton financial statements. So note 5, note 5, note 5. Okay, this is note 5 right here. Now you see exchange rate gain, Caverton generated 1.7 billion. Now exchange rate loss 38 to 65. So overall the company has benefited from exchange rate gain in 2023 to the tune of 1.7 billion. So I think that's also another factor that had contributed to the impressive financials. That is one. Away from exchange rate, I also look at the quarterly growth. The quarterly growth year on year. You know, when you are looking at financial statement as a trader, the way you analyze it is totally different from an investor. Investors are interested in the annual results, but you as a trader, the only part of financial statement you should be interested in is the quarterly results. Why? Because as a trader, you are interested in what is happening right now, while as an investor, you are interested in what will happen later. They are not the same. An investor is looking to buy a stock because it's considered undervalued, thinking that in a matter of time, like 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, the stock will catch up with its fair value based on 5 years, 6 years historical records or economic trend. That is for an investor. But as a trader, you are looking for what is happening right now. You want to jump on it. Why? Because you are interested in a stock that would go up. So you want to buy stock that are riding the trend. You want to buy stock that are benefiting from the trend. So they are not the same. So if you want to buy into stock that is going to benefit from trend, when I say trend, I'm looking at events that will run from 3 months up to 6 months, not more than a year. Then you have to pay attention to quarterly results. So investors don't look at quarterly results. Investors are interested in annual financial statements. So what does that mean? It means that if we want to carry out further analysis on Caverton stock as a trader, then we need to break this result down into quarterly results. So that way we would then be able to check what is happening to Caverton. Is Caverton benefiting from current events? Is Caverton are they doing well based on the recent quarterly result? That's what you should be looking at, not what has happened in 2023. So you're looking at events that is close, event that is driving current economic climate. So economic indicators. So what I've done so far is that I had to pull out Caverton 9-month results, which is this. So this is Caverton 9-month results, and then this is Caverton full year results. So what am I trying to do? When I compare Caverton 9-month results with full year results, I'm able to extract the number that will tell me what is happening in the last 3 months. And that is recent quarterly report. That is what I'm interested in, not the full year result. Yes, the full year result is good, but you have to be sure that the current result is also supporting this uptrend. This is extremely important. So what I've just done right now is I had to pull up an Excel sheet, take the right numbers and then plug them in, crunch it, and then I'm able to extract Caverton Q4 result. What did I do? I compared the full year result of Caverton with the Q3 result, which is 9 months, and then I'm able to get the last quarter. That's the recent quarter. So here's an Excel sheet to show you what I've done so far. Now this is Caverton full year results. I took the revenue figure for Caverton, gross margin, operating profit, profit before tax, profit after tax, and then EPS for the full year. Now you see that the full year result of Caverton 2023, this is it here, revenue, gross margin, and then the 9 months 2023. So the full year result of Caverton minus the 9 months will give you Q4. Which is what I'm interested in. That's why I had to mark it green. This is the most important number I want to see to tell me whether the trend is continuing, whether Caverton is benefiting from trend. A company can report good results at the end of the year, but what if you don't look at the recent quarterly result? Because if there's going to be a problem in a company, it has to reflect. It will start reflecting in its recent quarterly results, not full year. So that is what you should be doing as a trader. Look at the recent quarterly results of a company. Now, if you have access to Millionaire Stock Trader on my course platform, I took my time to share everything you need to know when it comes to analyzing a stock as a short-term trader. So on my course platform, I already have all this information here. If you go to, yes, this is it, a millionaire stock trader, I shared detailed information on how to analyze stock for short term. The way you analyze stock as a short-term trader, they are not the same as that of an investor. Most of the mistake many of you have been doing, even your broker, is that they analyze stock as if they are investing, whereas their intention was to trade. So stop analyzing a stock as an investor if your intention is to trade that stock, and stop analyzing the stock as a trader if your intention is to invest in that stock. Fundamental analysis for trader and fundamental analysis for investor, they are different. You can carry out fundamental analysis of a stock as a trader and it will tell you that this stock is a buy based on quarterly results. But if you analyze the same stock as a long-term investor, it might be a sell. Why? Because when you look at the historical record in the last 5 years, the company has not proven that it's a stock you can hold for a long time. But when you look at the event that is driving that same stock in the short term, it might be something you need to buy. So that's the difference. Millionaire stock trader for you would help you understand fundamental analysis as a short-term trader. So what we are doing right now is we are actually analyzing the stock as a short-term trader. So what are we interested in? We're interested in the Q4 2023 and Q4 2022. That's where we will now check if Caverton has recorded significant growth on quarterly basis. So look at the financial results full year and then minus the 9 months. That will give us Q4. Now I also spooled the figure financial result for 2022 minus 9 months 2022. That will give me the Q4 2022. This is what I'm interested in. Now look at the sales. Caverton generated a revenue of 8.9 billion. All these are in thousand. 8.9 billion in Q4 compared to 6 billion in Q4 2022. So this represents a growth of 48%, which is very good. Now Q4 2023, Caverton generated a revenue gross margin is 3.7 billion compared to 487 million. Now this gross margin is when you deduct your cost of sales from your revenue or sale, which is very okay. That tells you how much is left after deducting direct cost. Now, operating profit after accounting for all other costs like finance costs, exchange rate gain, Caverton generated 1.5 billion in Q4 2023 compared to a loss of 700 million in Q4 2022. That translates to a growth of 315%. Now, gross margin was 3.7 compared to 487. That's 679% growth. Now, look at the profit before tax. In Q4, Caverton generated 392 billion. Now, 392 million, and then in Q4 2022, it reported a loss before tax of 286. Again, in same period, profit after tax was 270 million. That's Q4, and then profit after tax was actually in negative, which is a loss after tax in Q2. So profit before tax and profit after tax actually went up by 237% and 184% respectively. Now if you now look at year on year is the full result in 2022 compared to 2023. We saw a growth in 18% revenue, gross margin 57%, 16%, 312, and so overall the quarterly results year on year, which is what I'm interested in as a trader, showed significant growth from 48% on revenue, 679% on gross margin, 316% on operating profit, 237% on profit before tax, and then 187% on profit after tax. EPS in the full year was 350%. This is a solid growth. This is a good result. Now, I've discussed Caverton as a stock and how that the company is diversifying, trying to create another revenue stream for itself. So let's look at a breakdown of Caverton revenue. Note 1. How the company generated 33 billion against 28. So let's look at note 1 on Caverton financial statement. Now look at the breakdown. Now don't just accept figure, don't just look at the whole figure. Sometimes it's good you exercise patience, pay attention, spend time to analyze the company financial. Spend time to ask yourself, where is this money coming from? How is this company generating its profits? How is this company making money? That would help you to know whether the company is doing something right or not. You don't want to just accept a figure and then start splashing money on a stock. Make sure you do your detailed analysis. This is what I do. This is what has helped me to see and get into stock earlier before others. So when others are selling, I'm mopping up at a cheap price. When others are buying that stock, I'm already at the top of the market to take my profit. Now look at Caverton, helicopter charter. Look at it here. In 2022, the company generated 1.1. Now, what happened in 2023? 2.5, almost 100% growth. Helicopter maintenance, the company generated 12 million. Then in 2023, the company generated 3.7 billion. Can you see? From 12 million to 3.7 million. Now, vessel time charter and boat income went from, helicopter and airplane contracts. Now, look at the big D here, from 17.3 million in 2022 to 23.6 in 2023. That's a massive growth of over 5 to 6 billion. Then look at vessel time charter and boat income. 678 million to 1.3, and then dividend income, there was none. And then vessel agency service from 122 to 217. Other revenue, you can see here, from 8.7 to 1. So other revenue, for me, it's not I'm not really concerned about that. But here's the point: the most important part of the business that is driving this revenue, they are showing significant growth. You can see they have shown significant growth. And then when you now compare how the company had fared in Q4, you will notice the significant increase in revenue, margin, operating profit, and then profit after tax, profit before tax. That means there's a lot happening in Q4. There's a trend that Caverton is taking advantage of. One of the major driver of Caverton full year results was actually Q4 results. Now, if a company declare impressive number at the end of the year and Q4 result is not, didn't meet up, or the latest financials didn't align with the full year, it's a sign. Like I told you before, if something is going to happen to a company, you will definitely spot it in their recent quarterly results. So what a trader does is to pay attention to what is happening now. Why an investor would buy a stock because of what will happen later. So we've done a full deep dive into Caverton financials, and from what you can see here, these are solid growth across board, across key revenue heads, and also the accounting line items. So let's now look at the technical part of this particular stock that we've talked about. Now, when you look at Caverton on the chart, this is where we're looking at technical part of the company. You will see how that Caverton had broke out, like I said, broke out of 1.2, rallied back to 2.2 before it pulled back. Now, my point now is, if Caverton recovers from this region, I consider this 1.6 a key region. Between 1.6 to 1.65 is a major key region. Why? Because this region has acted as resistance in the past before we saw a breakout. Like if I drill down to a weekly chart, you can see how the company, you can see here, for Caverton touched the region, you can see pull back, touched the region. So you can see the gradual breakout before we eventually saw the company rally from 1.6 up to 2.2. Now look at what is happening. The company had moved down to 1.6 before. So a positive recovery, from 1.6 should open the tap for Caverton to start going up. So my buy entry on this stock is around 1.6. I've keyed into this stock at price far lower than that, around 1.4, 1.5. So that means if I want to load Caverton, this is the best time for me to load Caverton stock. But why taking into account the state of the market? So why taking into account the state of the market? So what I've just done is I've taken profit to lock in my capital, which is very nice. So even if I want to buy Caverton, I would most likely enter around 1.6 to 1.7. Between 1.6 to 1.7, anything above that, I'm no longer buying. In short, I could even do 1.6 to 1.65. That's my best entry on Caverton. Why? Because I'm looking at this. This is a major key level right here. If Caverton dips below 1.6, then I'll most likely sell off and take profit. Why? Because this particular stock might dip back to 0.84 in months to come. But if this company finds support right here, then Caverton should be one stock that will be hot in 2024 because of the Q4 result so far. So if what happened in Q4 eventually repeats itself in Q1 2024, then expect this guy to be a hot stock in 2024. So, but right now, my best entry price for Caverton is between 1.6 to 1.65 for anyone that wants to enter, while also taking into account the risk level of 15%. My risk level is 15%. That means if Caverton dip below 1.6, then we should probably consider exiting the stock. That's a significant change in trend. But as long as Caverton is above 1.6, the uptrend is still intact. I'm looking for the stock to retest the previous high of 2.2. That's where we would then be expecting a bigger run up to 3. So if Caverton continues to deliver, remember how I'm using the word if, it's a conditional statement. If Caverton continues to deliver on its top line and bottom line results, just like that started in Q4 2023, there is nothing stopping Caverton from rallying higher to 3 by the end of 2024. So this is my analysis on Caverton. Please, you are highly required to do your due diligence when buying a stock, because everything I've shared right here is based on my own personal opinion. I have my risk level, and when I want to issue updated or revised advice on this stock, I post in my community. So if you're not a member of my community, feel free to drop a comment. You will also see a link where you can actually join our I have a special group for everybody, whether you're a member or not, where I alert everyone on my upcoming webinar, free webinar. So I'll drop a link where you can join that webinar. When you want to join that webinar group, you most likely get my announcement on how to join my community. So thank you so much. And then I also have a mobile app, Glowfolio app on Android store. So very soon we'll be launching our web version of Glowfolio, so that everybody, whether you're on Android or an iPhone, you also have an opportunity to join our community and see what we're doing in the community. If you're yet to hit the subscription button, kindly do that now. Follow my updates, follow my recommendations, so that when I have new stock to buy, you'll be notified when I post such analysis.